as a country. We're not unique in our evils, to be honest with you. I think where we may be singular is our refusal to acknowledge them. And the legends and myths we tell about our inherent, goodness to hide and cover and conceal so that we can maintain a kind of willful ignorance that protects our innocence. See, the thing is that when the Tea Party was happening, we were saying, pundits, oh, it's just about economic populism. It's not about race. When people knew, social scientists were already writing that what was driving the Tea Party were anxieties about demographic shifts, that the country was changing, that they were seeing these racially ambiguous babies on Cheerios commercials, that the country wasn't quite feeling like it was a white nation anymore. And people were screaming from the top of their lungs, this is not just simply economic populism. This is the ugly underbelly of the country. See, the thing is this, and I'll say this and I'll take the hit on it. There are communities that have had to bear the brunt of America white Americans confronting the danger of their innocence. And it happens every generation. So somehow we have to kind of, oh my God, is this who we are? And just again, here's another generation of babies. Think about it, that 2-year-old had his bones broken by 2 parents trying to shield him from being killed. A woman who has been married to this man for as long as I've been on the planet almost, lost her husband. For what? And so what we know is that the country has been playing politics for a long time on this hatred. We know this. So it's easy for us to place it all on Donald Trump's shoulders. It's easy for us to place Pittsburgh on his shoulders. It's easy for me to place Charlottesville on his shoulders. It's easy for us to place El Paso on his shoulders. This is us. And if we're going to get past this, we can't blame it on him. He's a manifestation of the ugliness that's in us. I've had the privilege of growing up in a tradition that didn't believe in the myths and the legends because we had to bear the brunt of them. Either we're going to change, Nicole, or we're going to do this again and again, and babies are going to have to grow up without mothers and fathers, uncles and aunts, friends, while we're trying to convince white folk to finally leave behind a history that will maybe, or embrace a history that might set them free from being white. Finally.
Yo. That's spoken to the man. Congrats to Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, for a historic night of events.
Very historic.
Very historic. What's up, OG?
What's good, D? Good afternoon, good night, and all of that.
Man, it is crazy.
Yeah, this has been a crazy week. I mean, there's so many things that's happened this week that I don't think an hour was good enough or long enough to cover it all, but I'll say one thing. It's definitely going to be one of the most memorable weeks in history, just about.
Memorable weeks. How many popular votes he has right now?
It's over 75 million at this point.
That's going to be crazy.
Now, California is still counting,
Still counting.
Oh, absolutely. There's still other states. I feel like New York was still counting as of Friday night. I don't know if they stopped for the weekend or what, but New York was still counting. But more than anything, California, Texas is probably somewhere around 98% complete. Pennsylvania ended finally.
Finally.
We waited so long for Pennsylvania to show up. Well, not show up as far as they did a great job in the state, but as far as us getting the results from what was going on in that count, especially where at one point Biden was down by 600,000 votes in that big state, especially when he was born in Pennsylvania. I was shocked.
How you feel about this whole craziness with going to?
I'm loving it, man. I mean, you can kind of say for the Democratic supporters, for the Biden supporters, for the anti-Trump supporters. It's been 4 years that we've been waiting for this day. It's been 4 years of just nonsense, just disdain for the way Donald Trump carried the presidency, the way he pretty much was the the guy in charge. I mean, so many things that, one of these episodes we're gonna have like I'm gonna do a fellas 5 on the top 5 things we're not gonna miss of Donald Trump. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Anywhere from talking about the way to overcome the COVID-19 is to drink bleach. Anything from that, for the way he disrespected John McCain years ago, Trump and the lies and everything else that's been going on for the 4 years. So I was happy to see the celebration in the street. Did you see all those celebrations, all those main cities from Washington, D.C. to New York City?
Washington, New York,
it was beautiful.
Philadelphia. It's the number one celebration? Georgia.
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 You should have started with that intro with Ray Charles with the Georgia. Not mine.
So here's the thing, and I always tell people this: you can't be patriotic, and you can't be patriotic only if it benefits you, and that is the problem with
That's
America
true.
right
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm seeing all in my timeline people saying, it's gonna be a recount. He's Sleepy Joe. Can't stand that guy. It was cheated. You can't be patriotic when it's all about you. The nonsense I'm hearing from social media that certain people are socialists or certain people are communists, but for some reason you have the balls to defend a guy who's obviously racist, sexist. He have no clue what he's doing in the office.
None at all.
Obviously, COVID, over 220,000 people died of COVID.
Yeah.
Still don't believe in the science.
Accounting.
Still don't believe in accounts. But at the end of the day, this is the guy you still think should rule the world.
I don't get it.
I don't get it. Rule America, not the world. Because the world's laughing at us right now. The world's laughing at us right now. A place that's so divided. So your self-interest overtakes humanity.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is that there was a lot of different networks, CNN, MSNBC, it goes on, that was just reporting as far as like kind of pushback, as far as what he said when he came out. I believe it was Wednesday that he came out and said that he was going to sue the state of Georgia, Michigan,
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, just based on saying that. First of all, he came out and said that as far as he's concerned, he's won, right?
Yep.
The other part of it, too, is that he feels like that there were no Republican representation in any of the ballot rooms, that they were pushed out or prohibited to come into the room to watch the count. So then he felt like otherwise like there were collusion going on between the Democratic Party and the voters or ballots, whatever it might have been. So he said in conclusion he felt he won, as opposed to say, bow gracefully, I lost. The same way other presidents have done. He doesn't.
It's a common currency to concede, and he does not want to concede. Yeah. So, but I am grateful for something. I'm grateful for all the people who voted. All the people who voted, black, Spanish, white, could vote him out. Because at the end of the day, we told people who actually supported Trump that we just don't want that anymore.
We don't want it.
We don't want the division. Now it is a lot of surprises. Florida was a big surprise. I knew that
I was surprised at Georgia.
It was always
I'm surprised at Florida. Correct.
It was always a Republican state. I never thought it was going to turn blue or anything like that. But statistically shown, they say Venezuela, Cubans, Americans, they all voted for Trump. And it's just plain simple with the rhetoric he was saying to them that Joe Biden was a communist and a socialist. Now, the biggest surprise is now going on my Facebook feed, and the ones I never thought was Trump supporters are Trump supporters now.
I did see some people on, at least and I'm not I'm not on Facebook a lot. I really, just there's so many things I do rather than look at. But there was a lot of people that I saw that said that they were going to close their account. That I didn't know that they were actually Trump supporters. So I'm assuming that they were going to close their account because they didn't want to see the happiness or the joy from the ones that were rooting for Biden. That's the only thing I can think of.
You can't be patriotic and try to all of a sudden hate the choice. It's not your choice. It's almost like they forget that we do this every 4 years. It's always been this case that it's Republicans and Democrats. If you think about it, about 12 years ago when Barack Obama, it was a lot of division then. He won 2 terms. It was a lot of division then, but unfortunately, it wasn't a big deal. Then after that, when Trump won, that's when you start seeing all the division. Because we know he's a racist. Everybody knows he's a racist. But at the end of the day, for some reason, some reason people looked a blind eye, said, you know what, he was doing good, blah blah blah. And when you ask him about it, like, what good did he did for 4 years? They have no clue. He's still been building that wall for 4 years.
The wall that cost America billions.
Yep.
Billions. And it's funny, I do remember at the time when he was running his campaign, I almost feel like, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I thought he said he was going to make Mexico pay for the wall. Did he not say that?
Mexico's not paying for the wall.
But he said that.
You haven't heard.
It just lines up to a pile of lies that he's done or said over the years, but I really felt he said that. But otherwise,
Is it cool?
I
I did hear that Putin might actually leave office because he has Parkinson.
I didn't know.
But it's kind of funny how he's sick and Trump didn't win. But that's beside the point. I don't want to get I don't want to get that conspiracy there because it's already so much already.
For years, I mean not years, I mean months. We heard that Jung Young Kim, he was supposedly had some type of illness, and his sister was supposed to take over the reins. So you never know.
Hey,
and Kim and Trump had a good meeting. 2+ years ago?
4 years ago, they told us what they said. They said that if you don't like the president, actually leave the country. They said that he's doing great. They didn't have one fact that he's doing great. He said, the funny thing is, a lot of the Trump supporters say he does great by black people. The problem is, the last time I heard a white person told me, or last time I heard any white person told a black folk that they know what's best for you was slavery. And that's God honest true. I never heard of someone, a white person, telling what's best for a black person. That's called slavery. Back in the day, they used to think it was best for us. And the funny thing is, obviously you support whoever you support. You gotta have facts. You gotta call them out. If you're so American, make sure they do their job. You gotta make sure Joe Biden does his job when he gets in office. Make sure Donald Trump does his job. This is keep in mind, these people are millionaires, billionaires, whatever they are. They only in office for 4 to 8 years. So in your mind, you think that this guy or girl is worth losing a friendship over for years. Now, a lot of people lost their friendship.
Guy that
you don't know who you are. So you want to have your self-interest, whether it's taxes or you think that the guy give you more money. You got to educate yourself. They try to say that Joe Biden's a communist and a socialist, but no proof. You try to say that Trump did so much for the African-American community, but no proof. None. Then you try to say that this America of ours is not divided. You see full proof in there.
It's very much divided.
It's very much divided. We already know the reason why he used, especially for the Hispanic community, he used religion against you. He used religion against you. He obviously, most Cuban American came from their parents came from the regime of Fidel Castro. So what happened is he knew that was going to be a big play. So he went to Florida, called Joe Biden a socialist and a communist. Yeah. Then guess what you did? You try to vote for him. Mm-hmm. I get it. But you gotta have proof. Religion, you should never make religion a weapon against anybody. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying your vote is your vote. You gotta live with that. But at the end of the day, people decided they don't want the division anymore.
They don't. The 75+ million and counting still going on is the most in history of a popular vote for any president in history. Now, we know obviously Trump has 70 million at this point. So there was a lot of people that otherwise also came out and vote. It bypassed Obama's voting, a popular vote 12 years ago. So I get that. But at the end of the day, is that when 75+ million people and counting comes out and says, hey, we want somebody else, that has to mean a lot.
And the funny thing is 70 million people actually voted for Trump too. Mm-hmm. So it's not that he lost fair and square, buddy.
By a lot.
I
mean, the separation between 5 million is a lot. That's count like in Rhode Island there's over 1 million people. So that's a lot. For anybody that thinks that, hey, he has 70+ million votes voted for Trump, that's fine and great. I get it. When you have 75+ still voting for Biden, that has to tell you it's a landslide. It's not even close.
Exactly. My thing is too, is electoral votes is always, everybody know electoral votes is one of those votes that it shouldn't happen. Obviously in different countries they do not have electoral votes. Now, the reason why most people, and this is a big little lesson to a lot of people, the reason why the government want electoral votes, because most likely if you do it by popular votes, Republicans will never be president.
They wouldn't win. That is
So,
true. I would love to know how far back we can go that in popular vote and an actual Republican won. I can't think about.
Republicans will never be president. At the same time, the reason why they don't want black folks or Spanish folks to vote because they'll never win as well. Now, the smartest tactic and smartest strategy Biden did was make it easier with the mail-in ballots. Think about it. McDonald's, KFC, Burger King, they're mega $billion franchise. And the reason why is because drive-thrus.
That's right.
Now, get a black folk or a Spanish folk to go through instead of waiting those lines, because we already know is a lot of voter suppressions in those lines because you only have about one or two in the populated demographics of black and Spanish. There's only one or two ballots and only voting polls. If you go to a white area, you got about six of them. So guess what? If you give us black folks mail-in ballots, that's a problem. That's gonna be a big problem for you.
Then you're giving us the green light to essentially do what you don't want us to do, which is actually put a vote in and actually speak.
Now I know the Republicans next time is gonna try to do the mail-in ballot tactic.
Yeah, they can, but it really comes down to like what you said earlier is that nobody really wanted Trump to win this time. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, obviously we're divided, so that's why you had so many people out there vote more for Trump this year than they did 4 years ago. I get that, but essentially when it comes down to it, is that overall we don't want this guy to be president. It's a weird thing to say that George W. Bush, the son, was more influential to the presidency as far as like making things move forward than Trump. And I didn't think George W. Bush was actually
George Bush. I could actually honestly say after 9/11, he was actually one of our saviors. So after 9/11,
because of what he did in 9/11.
Yes,
is that what you're
because
saying?
of speeches and
His speeches. He did come out. I do remember that. So he did come out and say,
believe it or not, I never thought George Bush was a good president, but he did what he had to do.
That's what I'm saying. So when you can say that he's been more influential than Trump, is essentially to my point is that Trump has kept us separated from each other, from people that otherwise we've been, I guess, friends with, or relatives, because in every family it seems like there's always a Trump supporter, but there's always that separation. Like if you have a family member that likes George W. Bush at the time, right after Clinton,
You didn't care.
You didn't care.
We didn't care.
You didn't care.
Matter of fact, I didn't. When Barack Obama was the president, I didn't really care if no one liked the guy.
Or even if somebody supported John McCain or John Kerry or
whatever, Mitt Romney or freaking John McCain. I did not care, but for some reason, Trump particularly, I care.
I care.
At the end of the day, because I don't care if you don't think you're racist, but most likely, if you voted for Trump, you believe in everything he did.
Yeah.
So
correct.
I'm not saying that all Republicans are racist, but I'm saying all racist people support Trump.
That's the thing.
Point blank.
That's the thing.
All racist people support Trump.
He said in the presidential debate, I think it was the first one, when asked what he would do to like the white supremacists out there, he said, "Stand back and stand ready." No,
Proud Boys.
Yeah, he said, "Stand back and stand
down.
ready."
Whatever,
stand ready.
Stand down.
No, he said, "Stand ready."
Whatever.
He said, "Stand back and stand ready."
So whatever
that was his response.
Whatever he did, that's not what we want for this America. I don't know what Joe Biden's going to do, but at the end of the day, we want to get back to normal. It's already done, folks.
So I don't mean to interrupt you in this point. I was asked this, right? I was asked this yesterday, and this is very important to me. So a friend of mine asked me this, and at that point, I didn't know otherwise if this person was a Trump supporter or not. But he asked me this, right? We were talking,
Yep.
and he said this to me, and I'm gonna give you the kind of the conversation, the dialogue. He said this to me. He said, "Hey, I'm just curious. What do you think Biden is gonna do that's so much better than Trump?" Right? And this is what I said. Like, I'm not an expert in politics. I'm not a person that can come out and tell you all the different policies that Trump has made that has benefited me or has not. But I can tell you I've done things on my own that impacts me. But at the end of the day, this is exactly what I'm going to tell you is this. When you have supporters, you have politicians, you have experts or quote-unquote pundits out there that are part of states like Georgia, like Arizona, that were predominantly Republican voters or supporters, switch up and become Democrats. when you have networks like CNN, MSNBC, and other ones come out and just push back on what Trump does, when all these people that are experts that know what is what and what's good and not, and if all of them are telling me that, hey, Trump is not good for us, I believe them. Now, what I do, I judge the person on the character. I can't judge them on the work that they do if I'm not an expert in politics.
Yep.
But what I can do, I can judge a person's character. And when I look at this character and I see that you have people that have died, George Floyd, amongst many other names, are going forward. And when you have a guy in George Floyd, and there's people that may, and he brought this up to me too as well. He said, you know, George Floyd broke into a house and did this and did that. That's fine, but I could recall that George Floyd never killed anybody.
Exactly.
Breonna Taylor never killed anybody. Now, Kyle, I forgot his name, Wisenhunt, something like that.
Yep.
Not Wisenhunt, but the one from Wisconsin, was it Wyoming? Mm-hmm. The 17-year-old.
Yep.
He killed two people.
Rittenhouse.
Yeah, Rittenhouse.
Yep.
He killed 2 people that day and injured 1, and he did not lose his life.
Exactly.
That tells me something. That tells me that the characteristics of certain, police officers or otherwise people in control, power cops or otherwise, when they have a chief and commander that acts a certain way, they feel like they can act the same way.
Exactly.
And what I can say is that I judge the characteristics of Trump, and that's not a person that I support. And one final note, D, real quick. And this is really at the end of the conversation I had with this guy, a good friend, but otherwise. I said this to him: my son is 9 years old, right? Mm-hmm. When it comes time for him to go to summer camp, because he brought this up to me, hey, can I go to summer camp? I was like, yeah, I'll look into it, because you go to summer camp, for a couple of weeks and whatnot. If the main person in charge of the summer camp was Trump,
it wouldn't happen.
It would not happen. But if it was a Biden type, I would have no problem. And I asked the listeners out there to think of it like this. So if there's listeners out there that otherwise are Trump supporters or they're 50-50 on the fence, the best way for you to judge a person is, say, if you have a young child and you're going to leave your child to be influenced by a particular person, and if that person is Trump, are you okay with that? And if you're not okay with that, then why would you be okay with him not serving another, why would you be upset if he's not serving a second term, right?
Here's the thing. A lot of people, hey, do what you guys. As I said before, and I said it on the previous episode, I guarantee you, a lot of people, when a black man get killed, they love to jump on the past. Mm-hmm. But as soon as a white man does something, they never jump on the past. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, it's not a one-time thing with a lot of these cops, especially the white cops. It's a pattern.
It's a pattern.
They never jump on the pass with the pattern. Mm-hmm. They, with the Breonna Taylor, they had an issue with this before. They did an illegal search before, a legal raid. They never say nothing like that. So go ahead. Bring up Chicago. Every time you have you talk about black people, bring up Chicago. Every time you talk about, but remember the past, what you did to a lot of the black and Spanish folks. Yeah. You kept a man, woman, a child for slavery. Not you particular, but your ancestors. Right. Regardless of how you like it or not, your ancestors. You thought it was okay to segregate back in the day in the 60s, the 50s, whatever it is, segregate black versus white. You had a law that a white woman cannot be with a black man or a black man cannot be with a white woman. Mm-hmm. That's a crazy law.
It's crazy, yeah.
But you're trying to say, in your mind, America the Great. Mm-hmm. America the Great. You strip a lot of people of their real names. A lot of us came from Africa. At the end of the day, a lot of us came from Africa. We didn't even know what the hell America was. You took it from the Native Americans. So while you enjoy your history, while Italian enjoyed Christopher Columbus, while America enjoys whatever, think about when a lot of the black folks, when they went to the armies, tried to serve their country, treated us like pigs, treated us like we're dirt. We couldn't even get a house afterwards. But the same house that your great grandfather decided to actually sell, make a living for you to be a white privileged person. Yeah. Guess what? That wasn't afforded to a lot of the black folks.
That's right.
So at the end of the day, go ahead. If you want to be racist, go ahead, be racist. Now that we know who you are, that's exactly how you're going to be treated. I always tell people, you could like whoever you want, but that doesn't mean you in my circle.
Yeah.
So
true,
I know a lot of racists, but you're not in my circle. Yeah. I don't talk to you. I don't even mention you.
And a lot of them, they keep quiet. They keep quiet until eventually something happens. And at that point, like it's like I think you said early in the beginning of the episode, it's like, all right, you're like, let me hear you. Let me hear all of that now, right?
Yep.
Where's that energy that you shown before?
Energy.
You know?
So they 4 years ago, you said they always used to say if you don't like our presidents, leave the country. Now they don't like our president.
Yeah.
And now guess what? Are you going to leave the country?
That's right.
Now we complained that Trump was mingling with the votes with Russia. Now that you think that it's some voter fraud, what's going to happen then?
Yeah, correct.
So hey, you're American. American just decide to say, you know what, we take whoever presidents and we try to see if they could do better. Because as an American, you should just keep on moving forward with your life. Guess what? Now we haven't. I seen somebody on my Facebook trying to sign a petition to
for what?
To do an election all over again. So we're gonna change the whole constitution because you want us to sign a petition to do an election all over again. So look how stupid you sound.
Yeah.
Like if you at the end of the day, it's 4 years. If he does great, great. If he does bad, bad.
That's right.
It's no. Don't try to tell me a president is the one that reason why you made so much money.
Have you heard this one? That the gas price is at the all-time lowest in 10 years because of Trump. Did you hear that
so
one?
you know the funny thing is, and like they don't understand politics, and they don't understand how things work. Trajectory. But especially with Barack Obama, he had the worst economy in a lot of years. It was going up. Trump came in. It's almost like I had this girl. And she over here, she had the worst relationship in the world. Yeah. So that means I have to do nothing to make it be a great relationship. I could just say I love you all day and I can make it a great relationship. Yeah. That's exactly
you could show up 30 minutes late to like get together. At least you showed up. You know what I mean? If the other dude just called up and like, yo, I'm stuck somewhere, I can't. You just have to show up.
And then when you argue and you know the funny thing is when you argue with people and you try to tell them that it is a real problem with voter suppression, they say it's not. You know why Georgia really flipped? And this is the biggest reason why Georgia flipped. Because Georgia always been a diverse state. But the problem is every time when someone tried to vote, it was a lot of problem voting. It's always been a diverse state. You should have lost Georgia probably about 12 years ago. But it's a very diverse state. Atlanta.
Georgia was for Trump 4 years ago.
Atlanta is a very diverse state. If you never went to Atlanta, you go to Atlanta, you'll see how diverse state. A lot of the rich black folks live in Atlanta. Think about what you're saying, that you're trying to say that Georgia is a problem. Arizona, a lot of Hispanics there. So guess what? Of course it flipped. Pennsylvania, Philadelphia is one of the biggest cities in the United States.
Yes, sir.
It's going to flip. At the end of the day, if you want to become president, you got to go through Hispanics and blacks. Point blank.
You have to do it, yeah.
Point blank. I read Dave Chappelle said it best. He said that a lot of white folks are feeling their life expectancy is slowly going down. They're feeling depressed. They're feeling like there's no hope. They're feeling money problems. Guess what? Try to be a black man. Try to be a black man for the last 20 years. Yeah. Try to be a black man.
That's right.
That's
the norm.
That's the norm.
That's the norm.
So you're telling me that we was living through this and now you're starting to live through this and you can't deal with it?
I'll tell you this. I would dare somebody that knows somebody that is white. If let's say you're black, I would, and this is just not trying to compare in any sense, but I would dare them to do this. And you talk about depression and so on. I would dare somebody out there that is black to ask a friend that is white. Since high school, of any kids, friends that you've known, how many have died, gotten shot, whatever, since you've known high school? And every single time, there would never be a white person that has more friends that has died that is white than black.
Exactly.
I'm thinking 3 or 4, like 4, but 3 that I knew, had conversation, hung out with, the other one has died. And you talk about depression. How about that? And I'm 38.
As I said before, I remember in high school, I have rest in peace. I had a Mexican friend who committed suicide when I was a sophomore in high school. And you're talking about the real world. I was in high school. I was in Clifton, New Jersey, which if I think about it now, it was a very diverse place, but it was very segregated. The rich folks was upstate, the uphill in the Clifton, and then they kind of bunched us up in this whole place. It's called Botany Village on there. So in Mexico, he was Mexican, and we for some reason all of a sudden I heard that he committed suicide, jumped off a bridge. So at the end of the day, you live your life, but the life of a black or Spanish man or a Spanish woman or a black woman or a black man is a totally different ball game than a white one. And if you want to have some life lessons, why don't you talk to your black friend if you even have one? Because obviously, if you're a Trump supporter, most likely you probably have one or two, and you think that it's like the best thing in the world, or you just don't have none.
That's right.
So, at the end of the day, he's your president. He's our president. See if he does his job and try to make sure. And you know, the funny thing is, as I said before, voting was taught to a lot of the Republicans, a lot of the white folks. It wasn't taught to black and Spanish. We started becoming voters when Barack Obama became there. And it's going to be a big difference for the next 20 years about voting. Hey, you're still going to have some black Republicans. You're still going to have some Spanish Republicans. But at the end of the day, the worst mistake you have was teaching us how to vote.
Yeah.
Because now we know.
Now we know, yeah.
Now it's not going to be it shouldn't be every presidency. Yeah. Now it should be the Senate, the councils, the governors.
Which is coming up in January.
Exactly.
Now you want to make sure that the House, otherwise you don't have that split. Now you have Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris, she'll come out and she'll make the deciding factor. If it's split, but you don't want that.
So the worst mistake that the Republicans and the white folks taught us is how to vote.
How to vote,
so at the end of the day, that's probably going to be your biggest flaw because, as I said before, United States is a democratic country. It just, and that's the biggest reason why the electoral vote was so important to Republicans because you cannot ever beat Democrats in when it comes to popular vote. Now, I'm not saying that all Republicans are bad, because keep in mind, I love John McCain. John McCain had dignity. But, and that's another thing, that was the biggest regret, I think, for Donald Trump ever dissing John McCain. Because Arizona, that's a John McCain state. You don't disrespect a vet. He gave it, no matter what, obviously when he ran with Barack Obama, I didn't like his policy, but he was a stand-up guy. He was. Hey, see, this is the problem. This is the biggest difference. Everyone didn't care about a politician. We didn't care because everybody hated politicians equally.
We did. And I think probably that's where it was intriguing a little bit when Trump jumped in. It was that he wasn't a politician. The only thing we didn't know that, like you said in the last episode, great title, how do you beat the devil with the demon? Otherwise, so that's where Trump was like, wow, this guy is the devil, He's
a devil. And you can say anything about Joe. Joe Biden's a nice guy, but he has some flaws. So we called him demon. We beat the devil with a demon. Regardless of how anyone feels, Trump wasn't right. And then you could say whatever you want. He's a businessman. You could say, but your self-interest do not take the influence from a human being. So regardless of how it is, a lot of people forget that there's the unemployment rate is so low, it's so high right now. And they try to say he built a lot of jobs. Where is this? Now he's a one.
Is that the job?
He's the first one-term president since George H.W. Bush. We haven't had a one-term president in a long time.
1992.
1992.
Bill Clinton.
So guess what? You're a one-term president, Trump. Time to go.
That says a lot too. When not only are you battling. Like I'm talking about Joe Biden. Not only are you battling against Trump, you're battling the fact that every president has been reelected since George Bush. So that was even in a steep hill in itself. The fact that you're battling against a guy that normally gets reelected, and he didn't in this case. Yeah.
He's as I said before, it doesn't look good for you, bro. Now the problem is you're gonna have, and I think this is an issue, and then. As soon as you get out of office, they might have to do some investigation.
Here's the thing, which is true, because at that point he won't be, as a president, like essentially you can't be binded by certain lawsuits or something like that. The way I understand it.
And people should never be surprised about the Hispanic vote in Florida because it is what it is. As I said before, because Hispanic heritage has a problem with colorism, and it's always been that problem. And I knew that was going to happen. Cuban Americans, they tend to lean towards Republican, and it just as soon as they actually step foot in the country, they tend to lean towards Republican. Puerto Ricans tend to lean towards Republicans, Venezuelans, Nicaraguans. As I said before, it is what it is. Florida is a tough state. Florida, that's why I say all the crazies come from Florida. It's always been that way. But those type of votes does not actually signify the Hispanic culture, because they're still our cousin regardless of anything. They have different type of views. It doesn't make sense. tell me what type of proof that Trump was a great president, because he might go down as one of the worst presidents we ever had.
It's because he was on TV.
Yeah.
He had a show.
We have a lot of bad presidents in this world. We have a president, actually, was it John Adams? He did one damn thing.
Second president,
Yeah.
John Adams?
Yeah, he
I don't know.
did not do one thing. I read about him. He did not one thing. Every president has a moment. Barack Obama had Affordable Care Act and also same-sex marriage. George H.W. Bush had 9/11, the way he carried us. Bill Clinton had his little tax breaks so people could buy their house. Every president has one. Ronald Reagan, Jimmy Carter, Dwight D. Eisenhower.
I think Jimmy Carter, I think it has something to do with housing.
Yeah,
I do
so
something that
I believe it's with veteran housing, but everyone has a moment. Trump has one moment, divided America, and now he's gone.
That's right. That's
So,
right.
hey, if you want that moment, good luck to you. Ivanka, I don't want to hear you, Ivanka. I don't want to hear no freaking Jared Kushner. I don't want to hear the Junior, the Don Man, Orange Man. Go, you know what? When he was losing his little presidency and he lost, he was in his freaking golfing.
He was golfing.
He was golfing.
You saw that?
That's the
This
stupidest shit in the world.
like, excuse my language here. You know, that is the president at this point.
Yeah, it's
He's golfing.
January 20th.
I mean, he's golfing. I mean, it's okay. It's just like I would love to know what presidents do on days that they're not golfing, so I know how many days that they can golf.
Oh, he said Obama golfed so much, and then he started golfing like it's crazy.
But it was reported that he golfed more than Obama, though.
He definitely did.
Way more. Not only just golfing, also traveling. As far as air mileage, he had a record as far as president, as far as like flying.
Because
So-
he's such a hypocrite. That's his exact problem. He's a big ass hypocrite. I can't stand that guy. This is the first time I can't stand someone. I don't even use the word hate too much, but I can't stand that guy.
I will tell you, you know who's kind of like slowly going up that ranking of not liking? You know who?
Who?
Don Jr.
Oh, he's
Can
another
you not
one.
just like at this point his voice is starting to annoy me?
He's
He is
another one.
slowly climbing up that wall
He's
of
another one.
annoyance. You know, where it's like, oh shit, I dislike Donald, but you know what? I think I dislike Donald Jr. probably close to that.
I can't stand that guy.
Eric,
either.
I don't know what he sounds like. He's just quiet. He's
Yeah.
doing what he's like.
You know, I don't see Eric too much. Jared Kush, I can't stand.
Jared is a
take that-
sleazeball. Like he's sleazy. You gotta like you know in the controversy with like I brought this up episodes ago with Chris Christie, the whole thing with his dad, you know, with housing and shit like that. Like Jared Kushner has done his worst of the way, and I think that's why him and Trump are so good together. It's like, hey, listen, I've done this wrong. What have you done wrong? Well, I did this. You know,
Yeah, they did. The whole family just sleazeballs.
Yeah.
Like that's all they care is they sleazy.
Yeah, like
Sleazy.
I sued people that lived in apartments based on them not paying the
But
rent.
as I said
But
before,
because of this.
all the Trump supporters on my Facebook, you was never in my circle in the beginning, so I really don't care. So at the end of the day, do what you must. I most likely never paid attention to you in the crowd. I see the post.
Yeah.
I laugh a little.
Yeah.
And then this whole petition with the whole signing and things like that.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Here's the thing, right? This is not even the best part. How about January 20th? This is where it gets better. This is just president-elect. Let's wait till the actual moment he actually takes office and we see what actually happens between them on the 20th. That's where it gets fun.
Nah, he's not gonna. We're gonna have to drag his ass out.
So I remember 4 years ago, gracefully, Trump, you know, as he was leaving, obviously he was done with his second term. I remember like that, you know, they were together like in like at least it seemed like it was the White House, you know, in that like opening porch wherever they were, and then you know you had him gracefully, and talking about Obama, you know, kind of shake Trump's hand. Hey, this is now your office. Take care of the country.
Yep.
I wonder if Trump will do the same thing when it comes to Biden.
No, he won't. He already said
I
he
would
won't.
love to see.
He's
Well, I will see.
He's so fixated about going to court, thinking that he's gonna win through the courts. He sounds stupid, man. Like, and then it just don't even make sense what he's talking about. Hey, whatever float your boat, Trump. It ain't happening, bro. It ain't happening. Go suck yourself. You bumbucker. Right, Jamaica and United States. No, Jamaica and Yadi and White House. No, you pussy. What?
Well, congratulations to New Jersey. They voted for him too. So,
Yeah,
saying?
Jersey.
Your state did it too.
Kamala Harris, baby. Jamaica and I world. I can't stand Trump. Ooh. Like, I'll fight him if I had a chance.
Yo, if his dancing is like his fighting,
Yeah.
All you need is just like one swing.
All I gotta say,
one swing.
Georgia on my mind.
Real quick. What's better, the Ray Charles or the Ludacris remix?
Nah, Ray Charles. That's a
The
classic.
original?
Yeah, that's
Ludacris was good. Would you not agree?
Georgia.
Would you
Yeah,
not
it was
agree?
good,
With
but I
Goody
like
Mob?
Ray Charles was much better.
With Goody Mob, that was good.
Yeah, it was
That
good, but Ray
Okay.
Charles, man, that's a classic.
I agree, but I'm just saying, Ludacris did justice with Goody Mob.
He did.
I thought
I ain't gonna lie, he did. But Ray Charles much better. So, well, you got top 5 going on?
Oh yeah, the fellas 5. I mean, is there any secret what number 1 is?
Yeah, we already know what's number 1. Number 1, it got to be. To be.
All right, DJ,
So.
play that beat. Let's get this going. Fellas 5.
All right.
Let's get it. The fellas 5, the top 5 names of the week. Remember, it's my fellas 5, so sometimes my 5 might be different than your 5, but at the end of the day, I still think it's a good 5. You let me know. Number 5, Tua Tagovailoa, the number 5 draft pick for the Miami Dolphins last week, Sunday, November 1st. Played his first game, drafted by the Miami Dolphins. Here it is. I'm a Dolphins fan. I've waited 20 plus, actually 20, because it was Dan Marino retired in 21. Yeah, 20. Yeah, I'm sorry, back and forth here. He retired in 2000. It's been about 20 years since the Dolphins had a marquee guy. I know Tannehill, he was good. He was not bad. He was okay. But a marquee guy. And let's talk about it. Number 13, Tua in Alabama. Now number 1 in Miami. Here's what's cool about this whole thing. His first touchdown was to Devontae Parker. I said this. I called it out there. First touchdown to Devontae Parker. It was November 1st, 11-1. The person that caught the ball from number 1 Tua was number 11, Devontae Parker. It's great. Here's what's even better than everything else. In the last 20 years, the Miami Dolphins has had 21 quarterbacks play for the Dolphins in the last 20 years. You do the math. I'm happy for the future. By the way, they won last week too. Let's get it. Number 4, the NBA season will start December 22nd. The last game was October 11th. It was game between, let's see. Oh, I forgot. The Lakers. That's right, against Miami Heat. I just talked about Miami, so we'll swing it to the other way. But it was Lakers versus Miami Heat. 63 days after the season ended, this season will start. The draft will be November 18th. You know, I'm happy to see that the season will start all over. This is actually pretty cool. A couple months after it ended, the season will start. Danny Green did say that some of the vets may not play in the first month. Danny Green, I don't know. Are you the guy that's supposed to come out and say this, or is it LeBron supposed to come out and say this? Side note, this season will be great because I think Golden State will come back. I think they'll be in the mix because obviously Clippers can't do what they said they could do, but maybe Golden State can. Let's go. Number 3, Kamala Harris. Let's go. Kamala Harris, we talked about this, I think, in episode 5 or 6, as she was nominated by Joe Biden as his vice president running mate. She is the first woman vice president-elect, the 49th vice president-elect running with Joe Biden. Now they've been elected. They should start January 20th. I'm very happy for her. Very happy for Joe as well. She is the first African-American voted, nominated, elected to the vice presidency. She's also the first Indian American elected in to the vice presidency. She ran with Joe. We know that. She was a former district attorney for San Francisco. We know that. She's the former attorney general. We know that. And then furthermore, she's the third since Sarah Palin. I remember that one against John McCain. D brought that up earlier. And then how about this? 1984, the first one was Geraldine Ferrero. She was the first one to run for the Democratic Party back in 1984. First woman nominee for the vice presidency. Congratulations. The 49th. Wow, 49. Can you believe that? Wow. Number 2, it's a sad one. Alex Trebek, 80 years old, has passed away. He passed away today, Sunday, November 8th. It's a sad day. Mr. Trebek died of pancreatic cancer. He's been battling for about a year now. The host of Jeopardy since 1984. It's tragic. I remember growing up, the 2 game shows that was always on regular network TV was Wheel Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. One was at 7, the other one was at 7:30. You caught them both. If not, you just catching something else. But there was always somebody's household. The thing is always how many questions can you answer. I didn't like when he shaved the mustache. That's just me. Whatever. I will say one of my favorite skits in Saturday Night Live when Will Ferrell played Alex Trebek, and then the other guy played Sean Connery. Both of them are no longer with us. Rest in power. Alex Trebek, one of my favorite TV characters in all of TV, whether it be game show or regular TV. I'm gonna miss him. Alex Trebek. That's a sad one. Let's get it. And then number 1, Joe Biden. The president-elect will become the 46th president of the United States come January 20th. Oh, can you believe that? That is crazy. He's representing out of Delaware. I thought at some point it was between Rhode Island and Delaware, the smallest and the second smallest state. Who was going to get the first president coming out of the state is Delaware. He was born in Pennsylvania. Let me get that out of the way, out of Scranton. But at the same time, he did represent Delaware. 50 years in politics, he finally got his chance at the presidency. Ran with the one and only Obama about 12 years ago in the beginning, and then now he just beat who, Trump. Congratulations to Joe Biden. Now this is just the beginning. He hasn't taken the seat. There's still more states to count. The highest popular vote in presidential electoral history, over 75 million and counting, and it's still going on. Congratulations to Joe Biden, number 1.
Joe Biden. December 22nd, huh? That seems a little early for the NBA.
It's funny. October 11th was the last game. December 22nd is the new game, but here's the thing. The draft is November 18th. So you have about a little bit over a month from whoever you draft, because I'm assuming at this point, since there's no actual draftee, you can do a little bit of workout, but they're not working with teams. So I think a month is kind of actually even less for a player to kind of get acclimated to the team and just kind of contribute, right?
I think they had to do it because they're going to lose $1 billion, they said, if they didn't do it before January. So
that's right.
At the end of the day, it makes sense in their pockets. And then when it makes sense in their pocket, I guarantee you that's why they approve it.
It does. And then
if LeBron don't want to play, because I keep on hearing LeBron might not play.
I hear that too, because his contract is guaranteed. I mean, what's really smart for NBA players is that with the players representative, I don't know who he is at this point, that they have the guaranteed contract no matter what.
Yep.
Whether LeBron plays the first month or not, it's a guaranteed contract. Yeah, right?
They're going to pay him regardless.
They're going to pay him regardless.
He's a face of the league, still a face of the league.
So now, if you're a Lakers fan, you may say, I don't care. I want to make sure he's for the second half, not the first half. And I'm okay with that. Now, if you're a Golden State fan, you may say, I want Steph Curry in the beginning. I want Klay Thompson if he's ready in the beginning, because I think the West is actually one of the deepest conference at this point.
Golden State was going to have second. Deep. They're going to have second pick, right? They're going to have
second pick.
They're going to have a good squad.
Yeah.
They're going to have a good squad. Whether they take the homeboy from Atlanta or they're going to Georgia or take LaMelo.
Right. Yeah, the 7-2 center. Yeah, that's right.
So it's going to be a squad.
That's right.
Boy, NBA going to be crazy. Because everybody's still, I think Kawhi Leonard a little bit mad right now. Because a lot of people saying that Chris Paul might go back to Clippers because they had a little
No, he can't now with that contract. 43,
they
45 million.
They saying they're going to get rid of Pat Bev.
If they do, then that makes sense because they need that salary opening.
But they're saying Pat Bev, Lou Williams, and Montrezl Harrell is not going to get signed for Chris Paul. That will make. I think that will make a lot of sense.
About 40 million.
That will make a lot of sense. You know why? Because I just don't think those three single-handed did nothing in that playoffs. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Paul George didn't, but he's still a superstar. So
I will agree, though, that if you want a leader and a vocal leader, Chris Paul is the definite answer.
And one thing he's chasing now. He's already a Hall of Famer, but that ring has been run away from him for a while.
Chris Paul.
That's so right. He needs to.
That's actually a great combo. You can look at Kawhi. That's the proven champion, the proven closer, right? And Chris Paul, the proven veteran, the proven vocal leader that hasn't gotten the title.
Yeah, and what's Paul George though? What's Paul George? The
Paul George is like that.
Let's get it out of the way. He's not a superstar.
He's not a
He's not a
superstar. He was though at one point.
He was, but not no more.
Not no more.
After last year,
Yeah.
he's a star. He's an all-star.
He's an all-star,
but he's not a
yeah.
superstar. I don't
Not
want to put him in
anymore.
that boat anymore.
he's not an
I don't have no patience for that guy.
Yeah.
He's not a superstar.
He's not a superstar.
He's an
no.
all-star.
Yeah, he's an all-star.
He's an all-star.
It's like I guess the best comparison I can put to Paul George is Evander Holyfield.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
my point is this, right?
But he Evander Holyfield at least get belts.
But my point is that when he went against Mike Tyson, you didn't really think he was gonna win, because throughout his years he never had great matches, fights. I would say
Yeah.
when he went against Mike Tyson, it was like, all right, Mike Tyson needs somebody to fight. Let's put Evander Holyfield in there, and then he surprised us. Paul George is at the point right now where he can surprise us.
Yep.
And as right now, I would say Paul George is that player that can surprise. Now, the surprises means that they have to make it to the finals.
Yeah, true.
The question is can they pass Golden State? Because the Lakers, we know, will probably be right in the mix at the end.
So I
We
think
know
that
right?
Golden State still it's gonna be a tough. That's the problem. Their chance was last year, and they messed it up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they have Chris Paul is he could stop a lot of people.
That's right,
He's a
that's
good defensive player. A lot of people. I love Steph Curry. Steph Curry's great, good
is
shooter,
great.
but one of his Achilles heel is defense.
Oh, absolutely.
Chris
no
Paul.
Defense, no defense.
So Chris Paul,
very little.
he's a solid, great point guard.
Yes.
But no, sometimes his Achilles here is injuries. His injuries is a problem. It's a problem for Chris Paul. If he could get to the playoffs, because he had about 2 chances to get that championship.
When he was with the Clippers.
Clippers, and even with Houston like a couple of years ago.
Oh, that's right.
If he could just get to that playoff and injury free, he get his championship. But the problem is, it's just, and then Paul George, I don't know what the hell's wrong. I don't have no respect for homeboy anymore.
Yeah.
Like I like him. It's like it's like one of those your boys. It's like your cousin.
Yeah.
I got 2 cousins.
Yeah.
Like I love them both to death. I got my cousin. It's 2 cousins. One cousin, I asked a question. I was like, "Yo, did you vote?" And he was like, one of the cousins was like, "Yo, I voted." Oh, like, yo, you good? You voted, right? All right, well, second cousin, this motherfucker gonna always have to ask me, give me a reason why. I was like, yo, bro, I just asked one question, man. I said,
So
did you vote?
He answered your question with a question.
Yeah, I was like, yo, but so and so, I heard so and so racist though. Like, yo, did I ask you that question, man? I said, did you vote? I didn't ask you if you what you think about your opinion. I was like, did you vote? All I care about, I was telling him, I don't care who you vote for. I just I care about your opinion.
Did you vote?
Did you vote?
That's right.
So that's Paul George. Paul George, and congratulations to him to getting engaged too. I just know that he got engaged. So,
I didn't know, with Doc's daughter, right?
yeah, no, Doc's daughter. Paul George, Doc's daughter. The girl, Danielle.
Oh, yeah. Why am I thinking Doc? That's his ex-girl.
That was ex-girl.
Oh, yeah.
He haven't been with Doc's daughter in a long time.
No. Doc's daughter's with Seth Curry.
Yes, they got
That's
married.
right.
They got married.
They
But
got
Paul,
married last year because Austin Rivers is still there.
Paul George got engaged.
That's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's bad though. I'll get with Paul George and girlfriend before Doc's daughter. Doc's daughter looked too much like Doc. And that's the
Not
problem.
into that.
Not into. I'm not into girls who look like their brher or their dad.
Yeah, and there's always that resemblance that throws you off a little bit.
Yeah, like I'm trying to. All of a sudden, I'm saying, whoa, who I'm banging? Who I'm banging?
Yo, and on top of that, what if, let's say, there's a little bit of resemblance in the way they sound?
Yeah, I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, congratulations. But
Are you excited about the NBA this close, or do you need like a little bit more time off for football?
I'm excited.
Because because remember, they're going to intertwine again. They did in the beginning of the season. They're going to do it at the end. Now it's kind of overlapping.
Football ends in February. So that's 2 months. It's going to be a tough one. Football ends in February. It's going to be a tough one. I know MLB is like a lot. I don't watch NHL. I think it's probably the wackest sport ever.
NHL.
MLB's all right.
Yeah.
I like that LA Dodgers win their World Series. That was
Because
actually
it was LA?
good.
Because you like the Clippers, so it was like the
No.
LA.
I like them because I love the underdogs because they've been chasing
They
that
weren't the
chip.
underdogs. The Dodgers?
The last
Dodgers were projected to win in the beginning of the season.
The last 4 years they've been close, but no cigar.
But the last 4 years, they were still projected because they have Clayton Kershaw. They were still projected.
Close, but no cigar. And Mookie Betts is one of my favorite players.
I love Mookie Betts too.
Mookie Betts.
Love him.
I don't understand why Boston Red Sox traded Mookie Betts.
if I had to take a guess, and I'm not the expert in MLB to bring it up in this sense, so I don't know about salary and that level. I remember I used to know a lot more salary way back when you had the A-Rods and the Miguel Tejadas back in the day, and the Nomar Garcia Parras. I knew Jason Giambis, and I knew more. I was really into baseball back then. Little by little, my interest started to fall away. But I really used to be really big into baseball. So I'm assuming Mookie Betts, the whole trade was because Mookie
wanted more money.
He wanted more money. And Mike and Boston said, hey, we can only pay you this because we still got David Price on the books. You know what I mean?
Give the man his money. Give the man his money.
They should have. But I love Mookie Betts, like him getting something out of this whole thing.
Yeah.
And he got a championship. So, well, either way. So the Dodgers won. The Lakers won. Rams are probably not going to win. And then all you need now is Clippers. And there's the Kings. I think in AHL it's the Kings.
Yeah, they ain't going to win.
The LA Kings.
But you know who's coming back today, though, for NFL? Your boy AB.
Oh, shit. I forgot.
He's starting today.
Oh, I forgot about AB.
All that layout, who do you think he really going to do?
I think he's going to be good. I totally forgot. I knew, but I forgot today was the day. I'm excited, actually. But think about this for a second, right? Out of all the receivers in the NFL, right, a year and a half off, I could argue, besides the running back position, the second, maybe some alignments, maybe the center, the receiver gets the most hits out of all the positions, right?
But not AB. AB was
great, but now you give him a year and a half off to kind of, be injury free and be ready. I wish I had him in fantasy. I think.
First of all, I don't think you having on fantasy is tough because I'm starting to realize the whole Tampa Bay has a lot of receivers, and think about what Tom's doing. He's doing pretty amazing, but Chris Godwin hasn't been Chris Godwin anymore.
No, he has not the same Godwin as last year.
Not the same Godwin last year. Yeah. Mike Evans haven't been the same.
Mike Evans, you know what's funny? I think every year he's digressing.
Yeah.
And he reminds me of Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
At one point, Larry Fitzgerald was in the same voice or names with greats like T.O., Brandon Marshall at one point, Marvin Harrison at one point, and it just, little by little, he digressed. Now, he's still in the league, and those other names are not, but he's not the same guy. And I think Evans is on that pace.
Fantasy-wise, you cannot depend on Tom, those wide receivers, or anything on Tampa Bay. They're going to win.
Because of the defense? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're
it's because they distribute the ball so much. It's a lot of people. Now, they might pass the AB today and made it.
Next week is what, Ronald? Or Leonard Fournette?
No. They're gonna pass the AB today because they're gonna try to get him acclimated with like the play call and things like that. Next week he might not.
So who's next week?
I don't know.
Gronk?
It's just weird. No, Gronk was 2 weeks ago. Notice every week is a different person.
I'm trying to get an idea because
I don't know if Gronk is always going to be something different.
Well, because if you're telling me that this week is Brown, last week is Gronk, if next week is Scotty Miller or Mike Evans.
Scotty Miller was like 4 weeks ago.
Okay. So essentially, what you're trying to tell me is that through the mix of it all, it's still Tom Brady.
That's what
you're trying to tell me.
I have Tom Brady on my fantasy football.
I know,
but
so there's plays I got on my feed. That doesn't mean I care that much. It's business. It's not personal.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
You know what
I'm saying that you don't depend on Tom Brady to get you good fantasy points. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, he doesn't do it all the time. He wasn't this year. Obviously, he might be jumping up on the MVP list because Russell Wilson is struggling. Right. And I still think Patrick Mahomes is going to be MVP.
Plus, he has a lot more weapons.
Yeah.
Too. Then again, Russell doesn't have DK.
Yeah, but Patrick Mahomes winning an MVP. You can't deny the guy he got one interception in the whole season.
He doesn't.
Yeah, a lot of people. He got as much. He probably had about 3 or 4 touchdowns under Russell Wilson. Yeah, a lot of people forget how good Patrick Mahomes is.
What about Rodgers, though? Rodgers
more touchdown. Patrick Mahomes is efficient.
It's like he's outstanding.
His QB rating, his touchdown to interception ratio. But then again, as I said before, Tom Brady is because he's old and he's doing phenomenal things. But I have a feeling something's going to bite him. And I just have playoff is going to be a little different because he goes against great players. He goes against great teams. He beat Las Vegas, but he lost against Chicago. Yeah, he lost against Chicago.
So in the NFC, is Tom Brady the best QB in the NFC right now, according to you?
No.
Who's the number one?
Still Russell Wilson, and then it's Aaron Rodgers.
Okay. So Patrick Mahomes is in the AFC,
AFC,
and Russell Wilson's in the NFC.
Russell Wilson's still AFC.
Okay.
Now
If he wins tonight, does he jump Russell
No.
Wilson? He does not.
No, you know why I can't jump him?
Why?
Because think about Russell Wilson's team versus Tom Brady's team. Tom Brady has a great defense, no matter how you do it. Russell Wilson, he lost his game, still putting up 30 some odd points.
Okay.
Think about it. Think about Tom Brady got a great defense.
He does.
Great defense. Russell Wilson, it looks like he got yeah.
Russell
Russell
Servin, Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams came back
they're very
today.
old.
Jamal Adams been gone for about a month.
They gave up points. They gave up a lot of points. They're just like Miami. Great defense. Give us so much
Giving
points.
a lot of points, a lot of yards. I
No,
got you.
Tampa Bay has at least a number 1 or number 2 defense in the NFL. Probably third.
Tampa Bay, I probably said top 3 for sure.
Top 3 for sure. What's Russell Seahawks? Not even top. I don't even think it's top 10. Yeah. If you think about it, it's almost like Russell Wilson has to get a touchdown every possession, or he's not going to win that game.
I'm gonna throw a twist into the mix, right?
What?
Who has a better receiving core right now? Is it DK Metcalf,
No.
Tyler Lockett, and David Moore versus Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans? Who has the best 3-man defensive, offensive receivers right now?
I would say Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah. You know why?
So then you just told me, you said it's Russell Wilson is your best QB.
He's the best QB right now.
Because here's my thing, right? As listeners are listening to this, they're listening to this after we watched the earlier games, and Russell Wilson struggled today.
Yep.
Now, Tom hasn't played. So now if Tom doesn't struggle, then he could be closer to Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
But
I agree with you.
Did you hear my purpose? He has one of the great wide receiver core.
That's
He
right.
has a great running back.
That's right.
He have a great defense.
That's right.
Now you can make an argument who has
Yeah.
a better team.
Yeah, okay.
Might be Tom Brady, or I still think
I think Seattle's still number better.
But at the end of the day, Russell Wilson is basically the whole team, regardless of how you do it.
Actually, I agree with you. I
now-
just want to see if I could,
you know-
if I could switch you to Tom Brady, but I agree.
You know,
it's Russell Wilson.
But you know who's a surprise? Who actually has the statistically has the best duo wide receiver, and you would never thought. I just saw this online on TV today too.
Can I
you would
take,
never thought.
I have to take West AFC or NFC? I have to take a random
They're
guess.
in NFC.
Duo.
Yep, duo.
So if I have to think real quick, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna say Packers, Scandling and Devontae Adams. Scandling had a great Thursday. I'm gonna go with those two as the
Carolina Panthers.
DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson.
DJ Moore.
I would've never thought
even
that.
Curtis Samuels. There's a lot of people.
That's
didn't-
actually pretty. Yeah,
a lot of people didn't
Curtis
notice.
Samuels stepping up.
They score a lot of. They get a lot of yards.
They do.
It's the weirdest thing. I never
Curtis,
done that.
he can beat you with running and passing and
I
receiving.
believe it or not, I thought it was something. I thought it was Hill, but if you think about with Kansas City, they only have Hill and Kelsey, but they're not a wide receiver core. Hardman and you think about Hardman, who's on there? Hardman,
there's,
Pringles,
Demarcus Robinson.
Yeah, they're not really.
Yeah.
They're not really. You only got Hill and Kelsey.
You hear their name once a month.
Yep.
They had that one game, and usually the reason you hear him is because either Kelsey or Hill is being double teamed. They have no choice but to be open,
Yeah,
right?
and even Miami. Think about Miami. They got Devontae Parker. And
That's right.
Who the hell's that? Williams.
Oh, that's Preston Williams.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're doing good. They're actually good too.
They're doing good, but the only thing with them is that they're not Pro Bowlers.
Yep.
Devontae Parker is worth getting a good contract, but they're not Pro Bowlers.
But you trying to say Devontae Adams, but Scanlon doesn't. He sometimes get lost some games.
He does get lost. That's a problem. I agree with you. He does get
Same
lost.
thing
It's almost
with-
like he has good days and bad days
Yeah.
based on how he wakes up in the morning.
Same thing with Lockett. Think
Yeah.
about him. DJ Metcalf is a freak.
Yeah,
But
he
Lockett
does.
doesn't do the things that he's supposed to do too.
Now, in my argument, you tell me if you disagree with this. I think that Russell Wilson, as nice of a guy he is, if 1 week Lockett goes off, the next week he just purposely goes after DK. He almost wants to he wants to make sure that each one is happy, and no matter how open Lockett is, the following week he's like, decaf, this is your Sunday.
You know the funny thing, the thing I don't like about Lockett that
He'll great.
He'll have one great week and all of a sudden he just disappeared.
That's what I'm saying.
You have
he doesn't disappear. I think it's Russell Wilson that
it's
says,
not
"Hey,
Russell Wilson," because sometimes you need DK. I know they only lost 2 games, so I can't really say that they're like a bad team. But at the end of the day, you have DK Metcalf, who's on. He remind me of Calvin Johnson, Megatron. The
Big
way
time.
the body is, the way that he's catching balls.
the power."
Lockett should be a nice little slot receiver. He should be getting all of them. But even DJ Moore, it's just a confusion of what's going on there. And they got to fix that defense. They got to fix that defense.
Yeah.
That
That is the thing is the
that
defense,
defense.
yeah.
And then I think then Russell Wilson started overcompensating. He got 3. Well, he got a fumble, and then he got 2 interceptions.
He had an
today.
interception,
Yeah,
that's right,
it's like
yeah.
it's crazy. You can't do that, Russell.
And I think that's the point from early is that if let's say this following week he's going after DK and he's like, hey, DK, this is going to be your Sunday. Sometimes he'll force it to DK because he wants DK to get that touchdown. Next thing you know, you have an undermanned guy getting ready for that little lob, and then he'll just jump in front of it and catch it. Now you got a turnover.
I do think Patrick Mahomes is going to get that MVP this year.
It's definitely not Lamar. We know that at this point.
Not Lamar.
is
I
over
don't
and
think
done
it's
with.
Tom Brady. I know a lot of people are going to try to say it's Tom Brady.
I'm still going to say it's Russell Wilson. I like your Pat Mahomes.
He has to be almost perfect for the rest of the year.
Russell Wilson?
Yes. To perfect as in your ratio has to be 2-3 more interception.
Mm-hmm.
Got to have about 15, 20 more touchdowns. Because the way that Patrick Mahomes is doing it right now, it's very hard to catch up to him.
If Russell Wilson has another game like he did, not like I guess let's say like today, you might be right.
Yeah, because
I don't see him back to back getting a turnover or 2 in a game, or at least 1. If he has a turnover, and I know Mahomes didn't have any, right? He had no turnovers today.
None.
Most likely.
So that's why I'm saying you can't think that you're gonna win MVP and have Patrick Mahomes over here just barely giving up the ball. He barely gives up the ball.
Yeah, and the other thing too is in terms of Mahomes, because he's the defending champion, it's almost kind of you give him kind of like the extra lead in a sense. So as long as he's doing good, and he is doing good, I think you give him the lead. So I still think of Russell Wilson. I think he can't have another game like today. If he does, then you're right, it's Mahomes. If not, I think it's still Russell Wilson.
So it's week 8 right now, right?
Week 8, yeah, that's right.
Now, who you think going to Super Bowl? This is halfway of the season.
Well, I'm still sticking to the Chiefs and the Seahawks. I think when we did episode 2, I think it was.
So too.
I still think
for some reason, I just have.
I don't see Tom Brady and the Buccaneers.
Tampa Bay has a great defense. I just don't feel like Tom Brady. I think a lot of people sleeping on Chicago because their offense is horrible, but that defense is one of the best.
It's still
defense.
good. It's always
still one of the good. Now
good.
Tom Brady playing right now, so I want to see exactly what he's going to do, but I just don't think Tom Brady is there yet.
The problem is that his division is too tough, right? You have Tampa Bay in that division. You have Green Bay. You have Minnesota. Minnesota is up and coming. You have the Saints as far as being one of the toughest teams out there still. It's tough. Now you got Seattle, San Fran, Arizona. That's pretty tough too. You know what? Maybe we might be sleeping on Kyler Murray. Hopefully, I don't know the results. I hope they lost to my Dolphins. I'm not sure. I hope they did.
Believe it or not, I don't think I'm sleeping on Kyler Murray. I have a feeling with the defense is a little tough
because they did
sometimes.
beat Seattle. Just throwing it out there. So a lot of people have. I'm sleeping on Arizona. Not on Kyler.
I don't know why you sleeping on Cardinals. I don't sleep on Cardinals. They what's today? They won. What are you talking about? Miami
Cardinals won?
No, Miami won.
All right.
So you
I
good?
didn't know that.
So you good? You good?
I didn't know that.
I just feel like sometimes, and this is the only thing is think about the Tampa Bay might be like a Clippers on there. All that hype,
That's a good comparison.
and all of a sudden in the playoffs you just falter.
You know what? That might be the thing.
I don't think it's Tom Brady, but I think sometimes it's the defense, sometimes the wide receivers. Sometimes when you got if you have like a great player that come to your team, sometimes you get a little too lax.
It's funny too. You have Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, now Tom Brady, Antonio Brown. Yo, that is a great comparison.
Yeah,
I would love to see what happens because you're right. You had 2 superstars go to a team that was already good enough. Now, I know Jameis Winston was horrible last year with the 15 turnovers. No, 30 for 30. So he had 30 turnovers, so they could have been a contender, at least playoff bound. Now you put in Tom Brady, like they're better. Clippers, they had their great years. I got to say, Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, they had their great years. You got to say. Now you get rid of Austin Rivers as well, Doc's son. You get rid of all of them. You bring in Kawhi. You got Harry. You got all those guys, and obviously Paul George.
Like you have a proven champion. It's not a proven winner, a proven champion.
At least otherwise, in the beginning of the season, I think a lot of people projected
them to go to the championship and win.
That's right. Now, same thing with the Buccaneers. So
they got too lax, and I have a feeling that defense, everything else is going to be too lax. It's going to be a problem. It's going to be an error that they're going to have in the playoff, and that's going to mess up Tom Brady. And Tom Brady, I don't know how long he thinks he's going to play. He's probably going to play about 2 or 3 more years.
2 or 3
I don't get it,
Probably
but at the end of the day, keep on playing unless you play in a high capacity. Obviously, Peyton Manning couldn't do it because he had his neck problem. But Tom Brady, you still look healthy on there. Although your boy, hopefully you don't have the same result as your boy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
because your boy didn't lose.
Well,
on Tuesday.
the thing with Tom Brady, I think he's just playing to the fact to prove the Patriots wrong.
Yeah,
the
true.
Patriots are 2-5.
The Patriots
He's
horrible
playing-
right now.
they're
And
horrible.
they playing tomorrow.
And I'm happy,
Yes.
by the way.
Yeah,
but
so-
anyway, so I think he's just playing to make sure to tell the Patriots ownership group, I don't know if
To
it's
stick it-
directly to Bob Kraft, maybe it's really more of
Yeah, there's just
Of,
a
Bill
lot
Belichick.
of Trump supporters get L's.
Yeah.
Because
Did he have a hat in his locker at one point?
Patriots is taking those L too because they're Trump supporters too. Rob Kraft and Bill Belichick. So don't get the same results. 2020's been taking a lot of L's lately.
Yeah,
A lot of L's in
This has been a
2012.
W though. This has been a good
This
W.
Tuesday was a W. I still think it's a couple more W's in our way, but
Couple more.
2020 was a lot of L's.
That's right.
We only have 2 more months left after Thanksgiving is basically over.
Less than two.
So it's one of those things, but we gotta get out of here, man. All right, you know the deal. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, on Twitter. If you have any issues or questions, just email us, hit us up. This Fells
Gmail.
Quarter Podcast. My name is D. My boy OG. Let's see that thing rock over here. All right.
All right, definitely. Till next time.